How the hell did she get her hands on the manuscript anyway?
I don't know. She's resourceful. I told you were too hard on her. Listen, I found out all sorts of interesting stuff while I was digging around.
Yeah.
Mr. Wake, it's Sheriff Breaker. We have an FBI agent here, Agent Nightingale.
FBI?
He's anxious to see you. You'd better come to the station.
Okay, I'll be right over, Sheriff. Let's make this quick, huh?
Help you folks?
Hey, what's up everyone? Nick here. Welcome back to the Alan Wake Nightmare difficulty walkthrough. We are moving on to episode 3. So, fun fact here, years ago when I first played this game, I was a big achievement hunter, and so naturally, I tried to beat the game on Nightmare on my own a long time ago, and on one hand, I just wasn't as good at video games a long time ago, but on the other hand, I also I didn't have the YouTube channel, so I didn't have, if I couldn't beat something, I didn't have that motivation to kind of just, power my way through it for the sake of getting that content up on YouTube. So years ago when I originally tried to beat this game on Nightmare, I only got to through the first 2 chapters. In fact, I didn't even beat the second chapter. I got to like the very end and I just couldn't beat it because I hadn't managed my resources well enough. So everything I'm doing up till now, like everything I'm doing to this from this point onward, is all new to me. I still am doing like a practice playthrough on normal before I record the Nightmare stuff, but this is the farthest I've ever gotten. So and again, I think it's both of those things play a factor there. On the one hand, I've gotten a lot better at video games over the years, especially shooters, since I've kind of matured in the games I play. I used to only play games like Crash and Mario as a kid. But then too, with the YouTube channel, I always have this inspiration to give you guys the best walkthroughs possible. And even though for this game, I'm considering it more of a playthrough since the game's been out for a while, still, that definitely helps me whenever I face a hard section. I think, come on, Nick, you got to do this for YouTube. And that helps me get through it. So anyway, we are in episode 3. I'll talk a little bit more about how this video is going to work, but first you're going to approach this cabin here, and we're actually going to talk to Rose, who is the waitress that we met in the first episode of the game. We're going to get about a 1 to 2 minute cutscene, and then we'll continue on with the gameplay. So yeah, Rose will answer the door, and this will just naturally trigger into the scene, so I'll go ahead and let you guys enjoy that.
Oh, yes. Yes. Please, come in.
Hey, this is really good.
Rose,
Yes.
my manuscript. I really need it.
I understand. I know what you need. A muse to inspire you.
Oh, for Barry? She doesn't have anything.
Yeah, hey, Al? Oh, what's... Oh...
Barry! What? What?
It's coming for you, hiding in my barber's skin. I'm too weak to stop it. You must turn the lights on.
I promised I'd come visit you and your lovely wife. You must finish what you started. I insist.
You must turn the lights on. Turn the light on.
Back to work, boy.
So before we're given kind of free reins of the episode, we have one more small section of gameplay to do, and we'll have a very, very brief cutscene. So what you're going to want to do when you gain control of Alan again, go ahead and just backtrack through the trailer park all the way back to the front gates, and you'll see some flashing police lights. That's how you know you're going the right way. Unfortunately, as you can see, it is now nighttime, which means we are in a no-safe zone, basically. But anyway, yeah, go ahead and just approach where you came from originally, and that will trigger a very short cutscene, and then we'll jump into the gameplay.
Oh, you're gonna get it now. God knows what you've done to that poor girl.
This is Agent Nightingale, FBI! Get him up, Hemingway! You're under arrest! You move a muscle, I'll unload right in your goddamn face! Stay right where you are, Slade!
What are? I'm standing right here, you goddamn maniac!
I hated to leave Barry behind.
So episode 3 starts off pretty interesting, actually. You are not given a flashlight. You are not given any flares. We have nothing. We have nothing in our inventory. And so you might be thinking, like, how am I going to do this? I can't fight anybody if I don't have at least a flashlight. So the good news is here, you don't really have to... you don't have to have anything. You're not actually going to be facing any enemies at the beginning of the level here. That's another thing that I have to give this game credit for, is they do a very good job at making things tough for you. You know, you really have to focus on conserving your batteries and conserving your ammo, but at the same time, they never put you in a situation that just feels impossible. You know, if you were to be in this level right now with nothing, and if you had to, like, dodge a bunch of enemies while you're running, that would be really hard, because the enemies in this game are pretty fast. Alan is not a very good sprinter. That would be a situation where you would think, wow, this is entirely unfair. The game is just making things more difficult than they need to be. And so, you know, I got to give credit to the developers. I feel like they really got a good balance with this difficulty. Nightmare mode is exactly what I would call a perfect hardest difficulty. It is very challenging, but still not... It doesn't make you hate the game like some of the other games I've covered on my channel in the past. Not to throw out any specific names, Gears of War 4 and Evil Within 2, but anyway, so this game does not make you hate the game for playing it on the hardest difficulty. Now, I'm doing something with this video I typically don't do. Usually I like to separate my walkthroughs discreetly by chapter number. So chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, so on and so forth. And so, as you can imagine, for this game, I was going to do video 1 is episode 1, video 2 is episode 2, all the way to episode 6, video 6. But episode 3 is really long. I haven't yet beaten the game, so I don't remember if it's the longest chapter in the game. But episode 3 is about anywhere from an hour and 10 to an hour and a half long. And I didn't want to throw all that into one video, because my kind of thought process here was, from a gaming standpoint, I started to really hate episode 3 because it felt like it just kept dragging on forever. I thought, you know, I kept playing, and every time I beat a tough section, I thought, oh, this would be a really good place for the level to end. And then it just kept going. And that happened to me like 4 times, and I didn't know when the level was going to end, and because of that, I just felt like it dragged on needlessly, and I ended up not really liking the level, even though in reality, this is a really fun level. And so I kind of thought that those same feelings might carry over to the viewer. You know, if I were to make this an hour and a half long video, most of you probably wouldn't watch the whole thing, and you probably get tired of it halfway through. So I thought, you know what, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to split this level into 2 videos, part 1 and part 2. Each one is going to be about 40 minutes long, give or take, you know, 4 or 5 minutes. I think part 2 is going to be slightly longer than part 1, but yeah, so I thought that was the best way to cover this episode. Now, hopefully, you know, the videos so far have been getting pretty good responses. You guys seem to be into it. The view counts are pretty well. The view, I was going to say well up there. The view counts are pretty high compared to a lot of the older games I typically do on my channel. I do apologize for not being very responsive in the comments lately. I have about a week's worth of comments that I haven't replied to. I always try to reply to every comment, but lately what's been happening, so for those of you who don't know, I am in the midst of applying to grad schools, and so it's a lot of computer work. It's a lot of filling out applications and typing personal statements and checking my CV and everything. So it's a lot of work on the computer, and after a while I get really sick of looking at a computer screen. So every time I've sat down in the last week to respond to YouTube comments, I've looked at like 2 and then closed my laptop because I'm sick of looking at a computer. The good news is I'm 2 weeks away from winter break. I actually am almost done submitting all my applications. So I'm getting to the point where I'm really going to be able to dive into the YouTube channel, start a couple new projects that I want to get your guys' opinions on, hopefully get into live streaming, different things like that. I'll be making a video at the start of December, kind of like my December update, and there's actually a couple questions I want to ask you guys, so I'm looking forward to doing that. There's also a couple other videos I have in mind that are a little different, definitely different from other things I've done on my channel. But anyway, the point of this tangent is just to kind of apologize for not replying to the comments. I see the comments, I appreciate the comments, and I will get back to you. It's just I've been putting that off, and that's just kind of on me. But hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from with all the crap I'm dealing with right now outside of the YouTube channel. I'm barely even finding time to record this walkthrough, let alone like actively monitor the YouTube channel. So it's been a very tough semester, and for those of you who have been following my channel, you know that there's a number of reasons why that is, all the way from medical reasons to just personal reasons and things like that. So bear with me. I will respond to the comments, but it just might take a little longer than usual. Now anyway, you're going to turn on that generator, run over to this searchlight, and shine it at the gate as quickly as possible, and then focus it. If you do this quickly enough, you'll actually be able to rid the gate of all darkness. Otherwise, the generator will die, and you'll just have to do that again. But if you're quick enough, you only have to do it once. And that actually kind of brings me to my next point on what makes Episode 3 a really cool level. Is there's a new type of enemy. They call them in the game Poltergeist objects. Basically what happens is the darkness that has been possessing humans up to this point, the darkness can now possess inanimate objects. So right here we see these gates are shrouded in shadow. Some are, there's actually in this level, in this video, there's going to be a boss fight against an inanimate object. And I'm not going to say what it is because it's really cool. I guess I'll give you a little hint. It would be Bob the Builder's worst nightmare. That's my hint for you guys, and you'll see why I think that's funny later on. But then again, usually the things I think are funny, other people look at me like I'm a bit of a weirdo. So who am I to say if that's funny or not? But anyway, now we have a flashlight, so that's wonderful. We have something to at least help us, and then right now we're going to be given a new resource, a flashbang. Flashbangs are easily the most powerful resource you have in this game. They are much better than flares, much better than your flashlight. They're basically instant kills, even on big guys. If you can throw them close enough to a big guy, it can be an instant kill. So that being said, you really want to make sure you hold on to these. You don't use them. You don't use them too often. So right here, I'm going to show you how this is done. There's going to be 3 or 4 enemies here. I want to get them all kind of grouped together so that the flash gang kills all of them. So you see right there, I just threw it right in the middle. It goes off, and boom, 3 enemies down. It's an instant kill. The flashbangs are really fun to use. They are incredibly effective. But again, like I said, you just want to make sure you focus on conserving them. You know, use them intelligently. So, for example, that one that I just threw, I only killed 2 guys with it. So the reason I did that was because I needed those 2 guys out of the way so I can sprint towards the finish line. Because once you get to this light here, we're pretty much going to be at least somewhat in the clear. So, and you'll see I just picked up more flashbangs. So really I used that flashbang because I wanted to show you guys how to use the flashbangs and everything like that. But the flashbangs are really good, really fun to use, but just use them wisely. Don't waste them, because the further this level gets, the harder it's going to get. And so you want to make sure you're saving these really useful resources such as the flashbang and the flares and whatnot. Now you'll see a cut in the video there because you'll get a checkpoint. And what you're going to do is cross this bridge, and you could see the fog rolling in. That should be your first indicator that things are about to get no bueno. And you see we're about to just get completely surrounded by guys here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn around. That idiot fell off the bridge, so that's really helpful. But then I'm just going to use a flashbang to kill the rest. Now, this big guy, he somehow survived the flashbang. Not the end of the world. I'll go ahead and finish him off with my flashlight. That was pretty cool. I'm not sure. I didn't even see if I threw a flashbang right there, but that guy just exploded right in front of me, so I'll take it. Alright, but yeah, so the trick to that fight is just immediately turn around and run past the guy that's behind you. If you get lucky, he'll fall off the bridge like he did for me. Believe it or not, that happens more often than you would think. Otherwise, if you try to go forward, you're going to have to dodge 4 guys instead of 1 guy. So it's definitely a bit easier to just turn around. Now right here, I'm actually just going to do my usual trick. I'm going to run backwards. So I'm going to keep in mind, one thing that makes this really easy. So notice how what I do is I shine the flashlight on them to stun them momentarily, and then when they're all stunned, that's when I turn around and make a run for it. But notice I'm running backwards so that I can keep my light trained on them while I'm moving. And if you see in the upper left-hand corner, there's a little map with a yellow dot on it. I use that dot to determine my position so that I know I'm going the right way while traveling backwards. So that's a very useful trick. I don't know how he's hitting me with that pinpoint accuracy. I think it's a little bullshit, but anyway, I'm not going to waste any resources on those 3 guys because I don't have to. I'm just going to keep running down this path. Once you get to the end, there's going to be a gate that you have to get through, and guarding the gate is going to be a big guy, but we're actually just going to dodge him. I think he does actually hit me, but that's okay. You can take a hit. There's no harm in taking a hit. So here you see, here comes the big guy. I'm going to stun him, run around him, and then get through the gate. Now right there, see, I do not think that hit should have made contact with me. At the end of the day, it's okay, but you can see by running away from those 3 guys in the woods, I saved flashbangs, I saved ammo, I saved everything. And that's what you need to do, because later on in the level, you are not really going to have that luxury of running away. So you need to save things now while you still can. You're going to get to the radio station. You're going to have to, again, that guy, you should recognize him from Chapter 1 as well. He was on the ferry with us. But you have to wait for him to end this broadcast, and then that will trigger a very short cutscene, and then we'll be allowed to return to the gameplay. So there he goes. He's going to wrap up the conversation with that lady on the radio. He's going to notice Alan in the background. He's going to invite us in, and I will let you guys enjoy another short cutscene.
Come on in, Mr. Wake. Oh, I'm so glad you could find the time to do this, Mr. Wake.
Nowhere to run now, Dan Brown. You back away from me. Don't hurt it.
Whoa. Everyone calm down. Put the gun down. We're all friends here, right?
Cool your jets, Nightingale. We got him.
Judas Priest!
What the hell's the matter with you? There's a civilian in there.
Alright guys, so once again we're kind of given free reign here. We have a bit of gameplay to go before another cutscene. And like I said, episode 3 is a lot of fun. It is a very long episode. This is only the first half of it. But you're going to see that this level throws a lot of cool new stuff at us. The flashbangs, the poltergeist items, all sorts of things. And I think there's actually an achievement. Oh, so there's some flares right there on the ground that can be kind of hard to miss, so make sure you pick those up. So you'll probably notice throughout my walkthrough so far how I like to use these resources is I like to use the flares defensively and the flashbangs offensively. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run to the generator, pop a flare, and now I'm going to start the generator while the flare is providing me cover. So that's exactly what I mean. The flares are better for defense. I'm not going to run up to an enemy holding a flare because it's really not going to do that much damage. Instead, I'm going to use the flare to drive away the enemies while I crank up that generator. Whereas, you know, if I had 5 enemies surrounding me, I would just throw a flashbang because that's the wise thing to do. So it's very interesting how you can use these resources in such different capacities. I don't know. It's a really fun game. And again, if you haven't already, feel free to comment letting me know what you think of the game. If you've never played it, does it look fun? Does it look interesting? And do you maybe want to one day try to play it? Or are you content with just watching my walkthrough? Either way, I invite you to keep watching. So right here, there's going to be 3 standard enemies that approach us. Nothing fancy here. I'm just going to whittle them down with my flashlight, finish them off with my pistol. So you might be asking, like... You might be asking, why am I using my pistol instead of my flash grenades? Because I don't have that much ammo. So why am I wasting ammo that I don't need to when I could have just used 1 flash grenade to get rid of all those guys? And the reason is, the flash grenades are just much more valuable than the revolver ammo. Trust me when I say that there is going to be a lot of ammo to pick up in this level. So you don't really have to worry about running out of ammo, but you do have to worry about running out of flashbangs because those are few and far in between. So definitely try to conserve those over the pistol ammo. Now you see this guy's going to spawn behind me. I'm going to once again kind of make a run for it. I got 3 guys chasing me, but you could see there's a construction light right here, which I'm going to turn on if this idiot will let me. So for some reason I couldn't get the light on, so I kind of panicked and just threw a flash grenade. If it had worked, I would have turned on this light. So there's a flashbang on the ground right there. But turn on that light, and now what's going to happen is you're about to see me get a checkpoint. There's going to be a cut in the video, and this part can be really tricky, so pay attention. There's going to be a shed on the left with a shotgun in it, and you definitely want to pick up the shotgun. But when you do so, you're going to get ambushed by a bunch of enemies, but I'm going to show you how to get out of this fight very easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on this light before going into the shed, because this is where we're going to make our exit. Alright, so that light is on. Now, I ran over here because I was just looking for resources. You might want to do this before you turn on the light. But anyway, here we go. So yeah, I should have turned on that light first, but I'm going to pick up the shotgun, and now I'm going to get ambushed. I am not going to fight these guys because that would waste a lot of resources. Instead, I'm going to refresh this light, and now I'm just going to run. I'm going to run down this path. The beauty is, in order for the enemies to get to you, they have to cross through that light. And when they cross through the light, it's going to instantly drain them of all darkness, and it's going to stun them for a couple seconds. So you can see I'm just moving backwards, using my flashlight to stun guys as they get a little close to me. Now I'm going to pop a flare for defense, and then while that flare is still burning, I'm going to make a run for it. And you can see here is the light at the end of the trail. And voila. It's a beautiful thing. We just got through. I mean, trust me, there are a lot of enemies in that fight. There's probably about 10 or more. And on my first attempt, I actually tried to fight them, and I ended up using like all my resources, and I thought, no, there has to be a smarter way to do this, and that's what I'm going to do. So I restarted the checkpoint, and sure enough, it's actually pretty simple to run away. So those lights, those construction lights, are very effective because they're not instant kills like the flash grenades, but they are instant dark repellent. So all the darkness possessing an enemy will go away if an enemy steps into that light, which means you can just shoot them without wasting any battery life on your flashlight, or you can use when they're stunned, you can use that opportunity to just run away like you saw me doing there. So either way, those lights are a very, very important kind of natural resource in the map.
But that wasn't the only thing that
so you're going to come to a split in the path here. You're supposed to go right, but if you go left, there's a cave at the end, or there's a room at the end with a goodie box in it. Now, keep in mind, there are going to be 3 enemies that ambush you if you do decide to come get these resources, but it is well worth it because you can just, so you'll see here I have full revolver ammo now, exactly what I was talking about earlier. It's not that hard to find ammo for the pistol. Here is the trunk of goodies. And so yeah, like I said, you don't have to come here, and if you do, you are going to get attacked by 3 enemies, but this is a really simple fight. There's only 3 guys, they're all standards, so just blow them away. Actually, this guy is a 2-shot guy, so take him out, and then I think, okay, so we have another 2-shot guy and then a 4-shot guy. Either way, very simple fight here. There's no heavies or anything like that, so just finish off the job as you normally would. And there you go. So again, keep in mind, you don't have to go down this path, which means this is an optional fight, but it's definitely worth it. All the resources I got in that cabin versus the small amount of things I had to use to kill those 3 guys, definitely worth it. And now we're going to make our way towards the Poltergeist bridge. This is actually a pretty tough part. You've noticed throughout my walkthrough that usually I don't actually have to refill a battery. I usually don't even waste a battery fighting an enemy. So right there you saw a cut in the video because I did die a couple times on this bridge. What's going to happen is we're going to have to fight a couple Poltergeist objects. But unlike the gates that we've come across in the past, these objects float around and actually attack you. So, and they move very fast, so it can be kind of hard, and they typically require a lot of flashlight life to eliminate the darkness, so it can be kind of tough. I mean, you're about to see the bridge is kind of falling down behind me, so I'm not going to be able to backtrack here. And as soon as I go up a couple steps, so right here it goes to slow motion, and now the objects are going to start flying at me. And you can see I'm blocked there. I can't go back, so that kind of sucks. So here we go. What I should have done is started from left to right. So here we go. I'm going to start shining my light on these guys. Flares can be pretty effective as well. The best thing to do is just focus on one item at a time, because unlike the regular enemies, these do not get stunned when you shine your flashlight at them, so it's better to eliminate one enemy at a time so that you kind of eliminate the threat. Now I recommend standing in this location. I'll talk about this more later on, probably in the next video when we encounter it more, but the best way to protect yourself against poltergeist objects is to just stand with as much stuff in front of you as possible. So what do I mean by that? Stand behind a tree, stand behind a railing, stand behind a truck, stand behind anything you can, because what that does is you're still able to shine your flashlight on the object and eliminate that darkness, but when the object comes flying at you, the more obstacles that are between you and the object, the better the chance of the object crashing into one of those obstacles and not actually running into you, thus causing you damage. So on the bridge, it's kind of hard, but you'll notice where I was standing, there was a little railing to my right, and it actually did protect me a number of times. Now here you're going to see a lot of items. That one got really lucky. But those two items actually they flew off the cliff, and that's an automatic death. So sometimes the poltergeist objects can kill themselves, and that's another useful thing, is if you stand near an edge, they can fly past you and automatically get killed. Now right here is a Nightmare manuscript. There are 3 of them in this level, and that's the first one. The other 2 are going to be in the next video. But yeah, so the biggest trick against poltergeist objects is where you stand. That makes all the difference. And again, we don't have to deal with that a lot in this level, but we do have to deal with it a lot, or sorry, not in this video, but we do have to deal with it a lot in the next video. But if you remember my little clue from earlier in the commentary, I was hinting about a boss fight, and I described it as Bob the Builder's worst nightmare. That is actually going to be an inanimate object boss fight, and you're going to see that by standing in a really, really unique location, you're able to get through the boss fight incredibly easily, and I'm actually really proud of the strategy I came up with. But before we get there, we do have to cross through this area first. So what you're going to want to do, go ahead and open this box. Notice how all around the map are these red and white tanks. These are gas tanks, and if you shoot them, they'll explode. So if you shoot them while a couple enemies are standing nearby, the explosion will actually cause an instant kill on the enemy. And so you can definitely use that to your advantage, as you're going to see me do in a couple of seconds. So once you've kind of scavenged the area and got all the resources, go ahead and approach the gate here and open it, and now you're about to get ambushed. So here you see there's a number of enemies that are going to run at me. And I'm going to try to use my flash bangs here, so I'm going to just chuck one right in the middle. You'll see I killed all 3 standards. Didn't kill the heavy though, so now I'm going to go to work with the flashlight. And check this out. I'm going to get him next to the propane tank. I'm going to shoot the propane tank. And voila, instant kill. Now it's a little hard. I'm not going to lie. The gas tanks are hard to use because the enemy has to be standing in the right location in order to do it. But when you do have that opportunity, just don't forget about it, because the gas tanks can really help you conserve ammunition. Now, had I not used the gas tank, it really wouldn't have been hard to kill that guy. But check this out. Once you come into this room here, another one is going to come out from behind those shelves. And so instead of fighting him indoors where there's not a lot of room to maneuver, I'm going to chase him outside. You'll see there's also a small guy with him, so let's try to take him out first to eliminate the threat. The big guy got in my way, though. Cool little dodge right there. Alright, little guy's out of the way. And now, once again, I have an option. I can try to lure this guy next to a propane tank. That's exactly what I'm going to try to do. I missed a couple shots there, but you see I ended up doing it just fine. In that case, you know, I wasted quite a bit of shots just trying to get the propane tank. And so there, it wasn't really the ammo that helped me out, it was just the time. You know, using a propane tank is a lot quicker than whittling him down with the flashlight. So yeah, I guess my biggest piece of advice would be don't rely on gas tanks, but just don't forget about them, because it can be really easy to just let them blend into the background and you don't even notice them. Just don't forget about them, because they can be very helpful when used correctly. And anyway, guys, now here it comes. We are about to engage in the boss fight that I've been hinting at. This is going to be kind of the peak of the level, or at least of the half level. We are going to be fighting against an inanimate object. What is that object going to be? Well, you'll see in a couple seconds. A heavy piece of machinery. Let's leave it at that. So I'm gonna step out into this courtyard here, or into this parking lot, and now you can see here comes good old Bob the Builder's best friend. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run to the very end. So check this out. All these guys in my way. I'm gonna pop a flare, and I'm gonna run towards the gate controls. So I'm gonna activate the gate controls. The gate will take a long time to open, and I'm gonna back myself into this corner right here. And look how beautiful this is. Based on the geometry of this building, whenever the tractor, or whenever the thing tries to run you over, it will get caught on the corner of the wall, and it won't actually be able to cause you any damage. And so all you have to do is worry about the little guys trying to run up on you. But at the end of the day, it's actually not too difficult. So this guy's just trying to ram me. He's not able to. And then now that the gates are open, I'm just going to run through the gates. And that's it. It will not chase you into this next area. So I just basically utilized the geometry of the map to get through a really tough boss fight. Because had I not done that, the tractor takes a lot of flashlight to kill, and you can see he's just trying to still get me through the fence, but I'm just going to say screw it, go to the truck, trigger a short cutscene.
I had never been this glad to see the sunrise. I had a couple of hours to get to the coal mine. The coal mine wasn't far now.
Alright guys, and that'll pretty much do it for the first half of episode 3. So you'll notice it is once again daytime, and our objective is to get to the coal mine. And so that's kind of a good stopping point. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drive to the coal mine. There's going to be a short little cutscene to end the video, and then we're going to pick up next time in the second half of episode 3, which again is going to be maybe just slightly longer than this video here. But yeah, episode 3 is really long, and it's really fun, but it's just really long, and it gets to the point where you start to get annoyed because it feels like it's just kind of dragging on. And so again, that's why I thought it best to separate it into 2 videos, because I know that if I got bored playing it, you guys would get bored watching it. So that was kind of the logic behind that. But anyway, Alan's talking about, you know, how everything just seems so unbelievable right now. He's suspected of murder and kidnap. The FBI is after him. The sheriff's curious about him. He's just like, what the hell is going on? How did this happen? I went from being a successful author on vacation to a fugitive and a criminal. So yeah, definitely not a good vacation for Alan Wake. I thought I had bad luck on vacations, but nothing compared to this guy. But you know what? As long as the FBI is chasing us, as long as our rap sheet is already a mile long, you know what I say? Why not just add to it? Let's go ahead and commit a bit of Grand Theft Auto. So I'm gonna ditch the truck here, and I'm just gonna steal this guy's car. I don't know whose car. I mean, I guess the truck first of all wasn't ours to begin with, but I'm just gonna steal a car now. You know, someone was probably up in that watchtower sipping their coffee, having a nice view, and I just stole this car. So why not? The FBI's already chasing us. What's one stolen car gonna add to that, if anything? So anyway, just the thoughts I have while playing the games. So here we go, we reached the end of our path. You're going to go inside and that will trigger the end. Thank you guys for watching, I hope you're enjoying. Like and subscribe if you get the chance. Let me know what you're thinking of the walkthrough and of the game in the comments down below. And I will see you in the next video where we do the second half of episode 3.
I didn't want to go outside. Cops had to be looking for me. The noon sun turned the place into a sauna. The day dragged on. Different scenarios ran through my mind. Ways of how I'd torture the kidnapper to get Alice back. Or the different horrible things he could have done to her. I imagined her dead. I had no way of knowing she was still alive. It was killing me. I was running on blind hope. It was all a waste of time. The bastard never showed up.